Along the back line, Christine Nairn, Kirsten Garafrakis, the longtime German international, Diana Matheson, Yael Averbuch in midfield, and up top a very dangerous duo, Jen, Jody Taylor, Lisa DeVanna.
Jody Taylor leading the Spirit in goals for the season, and she's pretty high up on the NWSL table. Such a potent attack. DeVanna is starting to find her form, and then right behind them, Kirsten Garafrakis and Diana Matheson. It's a very potent attack for the Spirit tonight.
Injuries have been part of the story all year for the expansion Houston Dash. No different tonight as we check out their starting lineup for the aforementioned Randy Waldrum, Aaron McLeod in goal, Stephanie Oakes. Back in the starting 11, though, she'll move to the right side of the defense. Marissa Diggs, Whitney Engen, Megan Klingenberg. In midfield, it's Kaylin Kyle, Jordan Jackson, Becky Edwards in a triangle of sorts. And then up top, Kaylee O'Hai, Nina Berger, and Melissa Henderson.
Yeah, Ari Romero holding out on the sideline. That she's just a little knocked up, Randy Waldrum told us, so giving Diggs some time and getting Oakes back in that lineup. Good to see Jordan Jackson back with the start. Same for Melissa Henderson, just second match with the club, second start.
You mentioned Romero dealing with a groin injury. Ella Masser out with a concussion, suffered late in Houston's last game. Teresa Noyola continues to try and overcome an issue with her Achilles tendon. The good news is, though, Whitney Engen was a game-time decision, and fortunately for Randy Waldrum, he's got her at the back. We're underway here at BBVA Compass Stadium, Washington Spirit, Houston Dash on CSN.
As we saw in that highlight pregame, Engen was the start of that second Kaylee O'Hai goal. Engen to Henderson to Jackson to O'Hai for the finish. Very important part of that back line.
Melissa Henderson here applying the pressure on national team stalwart Allie Krieger. Edwards and Kaylin Kyle forming such a forceful duo in the middle of the field for Houston. Klingenberg now on the near sideline. Garafrakis keeps it in. Crystal Dunn, the first overall pick in this year's NWSL College Draft. Here's Jackson, nearly put it through to Nina Berger, who was streaking in behind the Washington defense.
And I know we talked about it last game, but that was one of the curious decisions by the league, that Washington Spirit got the first round draft pick, the #1 overall pick going into the season, having finished last, and the expansion team got the #2 pick, which the Dash used on Kaylee O'Hai. But I think both teams were happy with what they chose. I think they settled it as once they knew that the Spirit wanted Dunn and the Dash wanted O'Hai.
Jackson draws a foul here as she's taken down by Yael Averbuch. Good opportunity for some set-piece magic here. It'll be Kaylee O'Hai standing over. Not something we've seen too much of in 2014. 7 Dash players in and around the Washington penalty area. O'Hai to the spot. Harris comes out, ball's loose. Garafrakis sweeps it away. Christine Nairn corrals. She, of course, scored a beautiful game winner when these two teams met on May 26th up in Washington. 3-2 the final. Nairn's goal coming in the final minute of stoppage time.
I'd call that a beautiful heartbreaker for the Dash, especially after Aaron McLeod had just a few minutes before saved a PK against Diana Matheson to keep the score 2-2. And that was the beginning of a 3-game win streak for the Washington Spirit, that 3-2 win over the Dash.
Nina Berger taken down on the Houston side of midfield. Steph Oakes plays the ball through. Believe it was intended for Berger. Instead, O'Hai nearly got on the end of it. Kalia playing some inspired ball. 2 goals against Boston last week. A coming out party of sorts for the 2nd overall pick.
But surprisingly, did not win Player of the Week honors for last week. Well, at least from our bias perspective, surprisingly.
Devanna on the edge of the box. Nairn serves it in. McLeod, looked like she had some trouble there, but manages to gather the ball in the 4th minute, and we're still scoreless. It was the 4th minute, after all, when Boston broke through on Friday night. So early goals, not something we're entirely unaccustomed to here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Alex Singer with the header out of bounds.
We haven't seen Marissa Diggs with the start since June 14th against Kansas City. She's been riding the bench a lot with, you know, the return of Engen and Ohale and Klingenberg, but now you see those injuries mixing it up again.
Alex Singer touches the ball out of bounds under some pretty serious pressure there. The Dash with it deep in Washington's end. Jody Taylor all alone up top, but a very dangerous player. She scored the game winner when these two met on June 28th here in Houston. Chipped Erin McLeod. I was talking to Erin yesterday. She said as a goalie, those are the ones that sting the ego the most. Here's Berger into the final third. Delivers a cross. Krieger there to knock it out of bounds, but it will be a corner kick here early for Houston as they go in search of an opening goal.
Yeah, I know it's been a tough season for McLeod with, you know, a young team, not necessarily a young defense, but a young team in front of her. She's going to get more shots like that. Mistakes are going to happen, but you just have to let it go and move on.
Oakes with the corner kick in the 6th minute. Drives it in. Diggs with the header. Just wide of the post.
Great ball from Oakes. Diggs on it, has her head on it, but doesn't have the right angle to turn it back towards goal. That could have been her first professional goal.
Marissa Diggs, a very nice option at the back for Randy Waldrum. Gives him a bit of pace in the center of defense. Berger with the win. She plays in Kyle, the Canadian international, working against her compatriot, Diana Matheson. Stephanie Oakes with a run up from her right back spot. Of course, Oakes in the midst of a transition from flank player to left back, but with Megan Klingenberg back in the lineup. Oakes asked to switch sides tonight.
And I would imagine, just like her transition from forward to defense, her transition to the other side of the defense isn't really going to, you know, cause her much stress.
Long ball over the top, something we saw quite a bit of in that June 28th meeting, Jen. Very direct style of play from the Spirit in that game. I think they had the scouting report on the Dash down pat. They were trying to get it in over a back four that was playing very high. Freikas with the ball in. Matheson looked to pick out Devanna on the far side. Could not do so. Dash ball here in the 8th minute. Critical match for Houston, Jen. We talked about the must-win mentality. Randy Waldrum keeps preaching that to his team. There really, at this point, is no more room for error.
Yeah, I think the standings have helped the Dash out as much as they can. You know, Seattle taking points from everybody, but you're at a certain point in the season, only 8 games left to play, and that's one more than most teams. Now you have to get those points.
Switch here to Crystal Dunn. Dunn and Ohai, college teammates at North Carolina, in a one-on-one battle here. And Kalia wins it. Stripping it wide to Kaylin Kyle. Kyle running at the Washington defense. Has Henderson. Henderson through now. And it's just touched away. Great last-ditch defending there from Washington as Alex Singer makes the play. Quick reminder, you can catch Dash Soccer in HD all season long here on CSN Houston. We're the home of not just the Houston Dash, but the Houston Dynamo as well. 9th minute, Stephanie Oakes for the corner kick. The fans to their feet at BBVA Compass Stadium. Plenty of options in the box for Houston. Oakes with the in-swinger. Engen rises, cleared away. Jordan Jackson with the tackle. Ohai bends it in. Engen flicks on. Partially cleared. And the Dash maintained possession.
With Jordan returning to the lineup and the addition of Melissa Henderson, I think we're going to see more combination play that the Dash hasn't been able to execute previously, and maybe that's what's going to get them over the hump and getting the points they need to finish high in the standings.
Edwards feeding it forward. Well read there by Crystal Dunn. And here comes Washington on the break. Devanna, left-footed service through. Taylor in behind the back line. McLeod swipes at it. Taylor still on it. Taylor the shot, blocked away by Marissa Diggs. Heroic defending from Houston.
Great play by Diggs to get back on the line, see that her keeper's out. All the way back to the line so that by the time Washington was able to take a shot, she was in perfect position to defend it. That's got to make McLeod feel good that her defense is doing what they're supposed to do.
Erin McLeod forcing Taylor off to the right. Taylor in search of her 10th goal of the year. Denied there, but mark my words, she'll be a presence and a threat all night.
And Sebastian, we were talking before the game about, why Jody Taylor hasn't seen any time with the English national team. And if anyone has an answer for that, please share it with us, because we're wondering why.
Taylor right now tied for 3rd in NWSL in goals with 9, tied with Jessica McDonald. McDonald plays for Portland, the sister of Brandon McDonald. Most recently playing over in Sweden. With RSL, DC United, San Jose, Los Angeles here in Major League Soccer. Dunn, service into the box. Oakes pokes it away. Kyle will distribute. Melissa Henderson, nice turn. She's got space to wheel and deal. Ohai had Berger again, streaking through.
Well, Jody Taylor might have to score another to keep up with McDonald. I think she had one at Chicago tonight. The Chicago-Portland game underway as we speak into the second half.
Lisa Devanna down on the turf here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Stephanie Oakes, the guilty party, as she crashed in to Devanna. Devanna, 4 games played with Washington, 3 starts. Brought over in a trade from Boston. We get another look at the challenge here from Oakes. That right foot caught the left leg of Lisa Devanna. Devanna, a vital part of this Washington outfit. Big part of the Australian national team program as well. 82 caps, 31 goals for the Matildas. You can see she's favoring that left leg quite a bit. Washington head coach Mark Parsons sends his bench into a warm-up. Thirteenth minute here at BBVA Compass Stadium, still scoreless between the Houston Dash and Washington Spirit. Dash in the orange and white. Washington in the all-white jerseys. Kristen Garifrakis. 1-2 with Jody Taylor.
Washington has made such a huge turnaround since the 2013 season. They finished last in the standings, made huge changes in the offseason, of course, a coaching change in the middle of last season, but I look at their roster now, and it's just so much stronger, and so I'm not surprised at all to see them tied for third with Chicago and Portland.
Cross comes in. Klingenberg will have to deal with it. Get some help from Whitney Engen. Clearing the ball out of the box. Dunn now with a cross to the back post. McLeod catches it unbothered. And we'll play Stephanie Oakes in. Kyle plays it through. Nina Berger will be first to it. Can she get some help? Henderson streaking forward, as is Kaylee Ohai. Henderson into the box. Henderson with the touch. Henderson with the shot. And a save! At the near post, Ashlyn Harris with the stop.
Henderson gets in behind the defense with even Washington rushing behind her, but Harris comes up huge. Keeps that out of the net.
I tend to think of Harris as this young goalkeeper. She's 28, but only 3 caps for the U.S. But what a stop right there. Sensational. We saw that back in June when Washington came here. Service across the box, and Marissa Diggs nearly getting to it. They'll say she was the last to touch it. Goal kick Washington.
When Harris is tied with Hope Solo for second in the lead for clean sheets, they both have 4. Even though Washington Spirit's the highest ranked team that has a negative goal differential, Harris was not in goal for several of their slaughter matches, for lack of a better word, because she was with the U.S. national team.
Dunn plays it back. Dunn, one of the promising young prospects coming up through the United States women's senior team. Already with 8 caps, just 21 years old. Engen, so smooth in distribution out of the back.
Another one of those up-and-coming products with already a lot of caps, who I will be very surprised if she's not part of that 2015 roster next year.
Some nervous moments in possession here for Houston. It ends up at the feet of Erin McLeod. Engen, a delicate touch with the outside of the foot to Jackson, and here comes Houston. Great build-up. Megan Klingenberg racing. Almost past Kirsten Garafrakis. But a great tackle from the German international. Stops the Houston break. And here's trouble for the Dash now. Jody Taylor, offside. A smooth finish from the English national, but not a goal. Nervous moments there. Again, Houston caught in the counterattack. Engen on the ball. Finds Ohai. Ohai tried to hook up there with Jordan Jackson, 2 rookies. Jackson taken in the 4th round. Provided the assist on Kalia's second goal against Boston. Again, part of that great build-up. Began with Whitney Engen into Melissa Henderson, whose one-touch pass was really what sprung that attack for Houston. Ended in the game winner last Friday night.
Yeah, even though she wasn't credited with an assist on either one of those goals, she created the space that made those goals happen.
It's interesting about Henderson. I was talking to Randy Waldrum, and he admitted to having doubts about starting a player that was only 48 hours away from being traded. Henderson coming over a couple weeks ago from FC Kansas City, but he said, look, we brought her over to help us win. We need to win this game. I kind of have to start her. And, it worked. There were definitely some moments where you could tell she was a new player. There wasn't that familiarity, but overall, certainly did well for herself.
And I think it sends a message to the team and also to the fans. We're serious. We're trying to win.
Of course, the Spirit have undergone quite a few in-season changes as well. Mark Parsons, not just the head coach, also the GM. Here's Jody Taylor right through Marissa Diggs. Will play it in to Devanna. Devanna cutting around Oaks. Devanna on the left foot. Devanna shot, chip, and a goal. Sensational finish from Lisa Devanna in the 19th minute, and Washington takes a 1-0 lead.
Well, they've been able to shut down Taylor, but couldn't do the same for Devanna. She got around, not only did the defense, but McLeod, and still found the back of the net.
And believe it or not, that is Jody Taylor's first assist of the year. 9 goals coming in, but no assists. She finds the helper there, a smooth pass. And the Dash fall behind again here at home. 8 days ago, they were able to dig themselves out of a similar hole.
That's also Devanna's first goal for the Spirit.
Nairn on the ball. Whitney Engen wins and distributes. Henderson on the ball, got a chance to switch it. She'll do so and pick out the Austrian international Nina Berger, whose touch escapes her. And the Dash miss an opportunity to break. Dunn, long ball in. Diggs cuts it out, stepping right in front of Jody Taylor.
You can see why Randy Waldrom's putting Diggs in the middle with Taylor, that they can match each other speed for speed.
High checking back from an offside position. Quick reminder, get social with the Houston Dash. Like us, follow us, and watch us on all of your favorite social media outlets. To get extended coverage of the Dash, log on to houston-soccer.com/social media for your social media dashboard. And Jen, what's the hashtag?
Dash on.
You got it. Do you pay attention to anything I read?
No, I'm watching the game. Dash on.
Allie Krieger plays it into Nairn. Her touch heavy. Berger and Ohio combined to win it. Ohio in a boatload of trouble there, surrounded by 5 or 6 Washington defenders. Yael Averbuch serving as the pivot in midfield for the Spirit.
Averbuch, another one of many players on the field with a fair amount of caps for the U.S. national team, but not someone who's necessarily a World Cup or Olympic starter.
Averbuch, 27 years old, 26 caps. Oaks rounded easily by Devanna. Cuts it back to Nairn. Nairn has the ability to test any goalkeeper in this league from distance. The Dash have witnessed it. Garafrakis cross. Out of bounds, goal kick Houston. You mentioned earlier, Jen, Kaylee Ohio did not win NWSL Player of the Week honors. She had 2 goals. Veronica Boqueta, though, had 2 goals and 2 assists in Portland's 7-1 win over FC Kansas City. The Spanish national teamer is your Week 14 Player of the Week in the National Women's Soccer League.
And she had won that honor just, I think, 2 or 3 weeks before.
Ohio and Dunn. It's going to be a fun matchup to watch. 2 young players expected to be part of the future of the U.S. women's national team. Berger with a bad turnover here deep in Houston's end. Washington looking to take advantage. Averbuch and Taylor. Taylor through. Matheson the shot. McLeod the save. Matheson offside.
McLeod had that read right, but easy call by the linesman to call Matheson offside.
Again, good build-up, though, from Washington.
Great through ball. Diana just a few steps too far.
Matheson, a dangerous player, made her debut for Canada at just 18 years old. You saw her goal that gave Canada the Olympic bronze back in 2012 at the beginning of the show.
And she's been the heart and soul of this Washington Spirit team, much like Becky Edwards, the anchor in the middle for the dash. She really held the team together last year through its very trying first season, and just continues to be a leader on the field and perform not just goals but assists.
Washington players asking for a handball there. They won't get it. Dash able only to clear it, though. Opportunity for Dunn to jump into the attack.
You know, I think one stat we need to start tracking is how many Tar Heels are on the field at any one time, because
You got enough ink in your pen?
this feels like one of those games where it's like half Carolina blue.
It's a UNC alumni night.
Yeah.
That should be the next theme here for the Dash. Oh, high, the header. Solid work from this Washington back line. Outside of maybe that one chance for Henderson, they've kept the Dash attack mostly at bay.
Had a great chat yesterday with Kaylee Ohai and Kelly McFarland, and we went over some Tar Heel trivia. And one of the questions that they couldn't answer, but now they know the answer to, is name the one, and there's only one, U.S. national team game, women's national team game, that did not feature a Tar Heel.
Wow.
In the entire history since 1985, there's only been one game where there wasn't even a Tar Heel to come in as a sub.
That's deep in the weeds, as they say. So what is the game? What was it?
U.S.-Sweden Women's World Cup group stage, 2-1 loss. There would have been a Tar Heel, but I think Sundaga just wanted to rest Heather O'Reilly before the knockout round.
Kaylee Ohai, speaking of Tar Heels, turning, running at the Washington defense, but she's double-teamed. Alex Singer and Nikki Cross combined for the win. Houston gets it right back. Ball on the feet of Becky Edwards. Smooth touch from Whitney Engen there to get it through to her national team compadre, Megan Klingenberg. Kling on the ball, into Jackson. Kyle serves in. Allie Krieger there. Wild stuff here in midfield, and the Spirit come away with it. Garafrikas on the ball. Crossed into Taylor. McLeod comes out, catches it over Taylor. Wow, a collision there. Erin McLeod hangs on, and she earned that one. McLeod full extension. Taylor crashing into her.
Lucky that neither one of them got hurt coming down from that.
Melissa Henderson into Berger. Berger loses it. Matheson to Garafrikas. The shot right at McLeod. McLeod gives up a rebound. Garafrikas chips it into the box. Steered away by Engen. Washington chasing a second here. Averbush. Averbush from distance, left-footed shot. Whistles it wide.
Long distance shot from Averbush. Little wide of the target. Looking at her and Garafrikas, I'm really impressed by how tall the Spirit roster is. You know, Garafrikas and Klingenberg going up against each other, that's got to be at least an 8-9 inch difference.
Averbush 5'10". Here's Garafrikas running at Engen and Klingenberg now. She'll drop it back to Dunn. Dunn all of 5'1", but plays much bigger. Garafrikas the cross. Digs a header, but only to Dunn. Dunn has pace here. Tries to whip it in. Dunn and Klingenberg. You're right, Jen. UNC battles galore down in this corner. Throw in coming for Crystal Dunn. Dunn, part of the U20 team that won the World Cup in Japan back in 2012. 2012, a good year for her, as it was for Kaylee Ohai. They also won the 2012 NCAA title with North Carolina.
And Crystal Dunn capped off that season with the Mac Herman Trophy Award. And who finished second? Her teammate Christine Nairn.
Dash build up down the near sideline. Megan Klingenberg. Henderson playing with her back to goal, one of her strengths, one of the reasons she was brought over from FC Kansas City. Diggs under pressure here, and I don't think she knew Devanna was coming. Devanna cuts it around McLeod, but no! Thou shalt not pass! Not with her hands, but with her feet. Erin McLeod bailing out the Houston Dash yet again. They can't rest for long. Garafrakis served in. Jody Taylor tried to turn on it one time. Diggs blocks it away. Melissa Henderson now checking all the way back to her penalty area to knock the ball out of bounds.
The speed on Devanna is amazing, but Erin McLeod stood her ground, read that right, just took it off of Devanna's foot.
Devanna in a starting role tonight. Known somewhat as a super sub during her time with the Matildas, the Australian women's national team. Averbush has already tried once from distance, chips in. Taylor, somewhere between a cross and a shot. And McLeod, no trouble. 31 minutes in here at BBVA Compass Stadium. The score 1-0 to Washington. Lisa Devanna, a strike in the 19th minute. Devanna in tight quarters, able to keep it in along that far sideline. Jordan Jackson and Crystal Dunn in a foot race. Dunn going to get there first. And does well to pick out Kirsten Garafrakis. Engen, an emergency header, finds Becky Edwards. Back and forth stuff here over the last few minutes. But the Dash unable to really pressure. Could this be it? Kaylee O'High in behind the defense. Dunn with a long touch. Ashlyn Harris off her line. She gathers it. Not much to do here in the first half for Ashlyn Harris, but she's called on in the 32nd minute. After an awkward bounce in the box, caught Crystal Dunn off guard.
Harris is one of the 5 keepers that Jillian Ellis has said she's considering for next year's Women's World Cup. The 3 that have been kind of the set 3 for the last few years, of course, Hope Solo, Nicole Barnhart, Jillian Lloyden, but she's also looking at Ashlyn Harris and Alyssa Nair from Boston, who we saw last week.
Good to have choices in that spot. Jill Ellis certainly has that for the women's national team. A reminder, dash on over to KeeperNotes.com every Monday for the latest episode of the Keeper Notes Women's Soccer Podcast. Host Jen Cooper. This Jen Cooper. Covers the Houston Dash, NWSL, and all aspects of North American women's soccer.
Except no imitations.
It's wild. This has just been a crazy week on the women's soccer scene. So much news coming down.
You've got the rosters announced for the Under-20 Women's World Cup. An international friendly for the senior women's team against Switzerland in August.
Here comes Nina Berger. Berger with the touch off the post. Harris got a piece of it as well. And in the 34th minute, the Dash just denied.
Great shot by Berger, hits the post and doesn't go the way she wants it to go. That would have been her 3rd professional goal for the Dash. But let's see if they can make something happen here.
Berger, the all-time leading scorer for Austria. She's in the box, along with 6 other teammates, as Stephanie Oakes stands over the corner kick in the 34th minute. Oakes high into the Houston Knight. Berger with the header towards goal. Ashlyn Harris there to save.
And it's interesting to see that on all the corners, Kaylee Ohai stays out of the box. She's just a little bit above the center circle. So I'm wondering if they think she's got the speed to catch somebody on a counter or to create a counter.
Nairn turning into the middle where Matheson awaits. Klingenberg, I think it's fair to say, still finding her footing with the dash. Well, she was supposed to join the team along with Whitney Engen, but weather, injuries, paperwork all conspired against her dash debut.
Especially that sky blue game on July 2nd that didn't get to happen. 4-hour weather delay, they finally called it. And at this point, the league and the teams have not announced a date to play that match. We're still waiting to hear when that's going to be played. I mean, of course, you have to consider that it could get to the point that these teams might not be in playoff contention and it might not be worth the trouble of rescheduling, but I hope that's not the case.
Both Sky Blue and the Dash have a lot to work to do to get back into real serious postseason contention, though mathematically certainly still a chance. Matheson down the right sideline, working against Klingenberg. Tried to slip it in to Garifrakis, but Whitney Engen is there first. Jen, you mentioned the rocky first season for Washington. Mark Parsons taking over for the dismissed Mike Jordan on July 1st of last year, 5 games into a 13-match winless streak. But this is a very different Spirit squad. Parsons certainly deserves a lot of the credit for that. Houston looking for an equalizer before the half. Berger, Kyle, and Edwards pinging around possession. Oakes now chooses to go direct. Jordan Jackson rising with Allie Krieger, but the national team are first to it.
I think it's interesting that the players that the Dash acquired from the Washington Spirit, how Randy Waldrum has made use of them. You know, Stephanie Oakes converting from a forward to an outside back. Tiffany McCarty, leading the team in goals with 4. You know, she's not starting tonight, but she's been much more productive.
McCarty an option off the bench for Randy Waldrum. In the build-up to this one, Randy saying, he thought the Dash were the better team when these two met back in June. Noting that simply Houston did not finish their chances. Jody Taylor did finish hers. And a 1-0 final was good enough for Washington to get out of here with 3 points. Ohai intercepts it, but there's Crystal Dunn, her old college teammate, there to quell the attack. Spirit over their last 3 games have picked up 7 points. 2 wins and a tie. Before that, Washington had lost 3 straight and managed to pull themselves into a 3-way tie for third. Krieger and Ohai duking it out on the far sideline. Krieger slams it forward. Ball ends up at the feet of Yael Averbush, who springs Crystal Dunn. Matheson on it now.
Well, and as we've seen in this league, anyone can beat anyone on a given day, so it's hard for any team.
Kyle, left-footed shot.
Except, of course, Seattle, to go on a streak more than 3 games.
Well-hit shot from the Canadian international, but Ashlyn Harris equally well-positioned in the 39th minute. We still stand 1-0 here on the strength of a 19th minute goal from Lisa DeVanna. Devanna looking for the delicate chip over the top. Couldn't pick out Jody Taylor. Henderson, again, playing with her back to goal, starting the Houston attack. Jackson slamming into Dunn. And the rookie out of Nebraska slow to get up, holding that left leg. Taylor racing towards it here. Diggs goes to ground and knocks it out for a corner kick. You see Jody Taylor there working against Marissa Diggs. Taylor really lives basically on the line between offsides and on. She's been whistled for offside more than any other player in the National Women's Soccer League, and frankly, it's not even close. She's been caught offside something like 29 times. The next closest is like 17.
That's walking the line.
But you know what?
That's Johnny Cash walking the line.
Is that the second Johnny Cash reference here today? Corner kick coming in for Washington. Right to the middle of the box. Again, Marissa Diggs with the header. Jordan Jackson out to close down Averbush. The New Jersey native earns a throw in here for Washington. About 5 minutes to play in the first half. Spirit lead 1-0.
Well, if I were Eddie Robinson, I could make, North Carolina basketball references, but I'm not that good.
Eddie Robinson. I don't even know if I could start a diatribe on that guy here. Alex Singer on the far side. Poorly hit cross. Cleared away by the Houston defense. Quick ball over the top here from Becky Edwards. Ojai going to be first to it, and first to it by a mile. Can she get some help? Berger, Henderson streaking forward. Ojai the cross, falls to Berger. Berger right-footed touch. Now on her left foot, she shoots. Done with the block. Crystal Dunn showing off that speed in recovery.
Great call by Berger to ask for the ball. Almost has enough time to control it. Dunn's right there, but it goes out for a corner.
Dunn so gifted in terms of speed, pace, and you see her able to recover from an uncomfortable position there. 3 players standing around the ball here for this corner kick. Oakes, Edwards, and Ojai. Into Henderson. Play that looked to be drawn up on the training ground. It's cleared away by Washington. Was going to go out for a throw, and Edwards keeps it in. Edwards with the cross. Harris, the simple catch. And Washington with a chance to break here. Jody Taylor, all alone. Oakes will get out to defender. Taylor one-touch ball. Devanna racing past Engen. McLeod out. And McLeod makes the play. Game starting to open up as we approach halftime. Megan Klingenberg, Pittsburgh native, drops it to Whitney Engen. Ojai doing a nice job finding the pockets of space. She'll push it wide. Cross comes in. A little bit long for Henderson and Berger from Stephanie Oakes. Alex Singer with the ball, plays it back to Nikki Cross. 2 of the players brought in midway through the campaign to help out this Spirit defense.
Part of the German invasion, and given our recent World Cup final, German being champions, we should say Deutschland über alles. We've got Bayern on the field. We have Frankfurt, Turbine Potsdam.
Both Singer and Cross really have basically played everywhere you can play soccer. Cross, Norway, Sweden, Germany. Singer, Germany, Sweden, Australia. Of course, Singer, 2007 through 2010, played for the Washington Freedom. Whistle here about 40 yards from goal, and you hear that? It's the audible sound of disgruntled fans here at BBVA Compass Stadium. They didn't appreciate the call, but nonetheless, this is a very dangerous situation just before the half.
I love it when we have disgruntled fans.
Oaks, Devanna colliding. Krieger a chip. Garafrakis lays it off. Devanna left-footed shot. She did not catch that one flush. Off the side of her foot and out of bounds for a goal kick. Plenty of ties between these two teams, Jen, in terms of player personnel. Stephanie Oaks played for Washington last season. Kika Toulouse as well.
I was going to say they don't really have ties on the scoreboard because these are actually the two teams that have had the fewest amount of ties for the season. But yes, many, many connections between these clubs.
We've hit the 45th minute here. Waiting a signal from the fourth official. Looks like it's going to be 2 minutes of added time here in the first half, with the Spirit leading the Dash 1-0. Megan Klingenberg all the way up from her left back spot to pressure Kirsten Garafrakis. Coming up at the half, we will go over some highlights from the opening 45 minutes. Also going to have a special guest, Houston Mayor Anise Parker, scheduled to join us. She's been a supporter of the Houston Dash from day one. She's in the building tonight.
First ever Houston mayor from my alma mater. That's why she's so significant.
That's right. Rice, which now has a great up-and-coming women's soccer program as well. I don't know that the mayor played soccer at Rice, did she?
It only would have been club soccer or, intramural soccer.
Matheson sniffed out here by the Dash defense.
One of the Rice players is actually training with Argentina right now, hoping to make their Women's World Cup qualifying roster.
Garafrakis into the box. Diggs again. Boy, she has found herself in the right spot at the right time. Plenty here in the first half. Marissa Diggs making the most of this start given her by Randy Waldrum. Crystal Dunn will press forward from a right back spot here, offering up a throw in deep in the Houston end. Matheson lobs it into the box. Offside flag up. And there's the whistle from center ref Michael Zapata. Sure to be only a few seconds left here in the first half. Dash trailing 1-0. And that will do it. Through 45 minutes, the Dash held scoreless here at BBVA Compass Stadium. It's 1-0 Washington at the break. We'll be back with first half highlights and a recap. Don't go anywhere. More NWSL action coming your way on CSN.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
Making isotopes that can detect Alzheimer's before any symptoms occur. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Before and after every game,
Watch Dynamo pre- and post-game live, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
I don't think anybody is more conscious of the fact that he's still to score on the biggest stage and Wayne himself. He needs to make a difference.
Will he score, Wayne? Will he make it up, Wayne?
The question is, can Neymar live up to the number 10 legend?
E foi assim, a noite passada, que Portugal venceu graças a Ronaldo.
After 45 minutes here in Houston, it's 1-0. The Washington Spirit on top. Week 15 National Women's Soccer League action in the Bayou City. Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium. Sebastian Salazar, Jen Cooper, joined by Houston Mayor Anise Parker. Thanks so much for joining us. I want your full breakdown of the first half. I'm kidding. But why the Houston Dash? I mean, you've been such a supporter from day one. When they announced the team, you were here at BBVA Compass Stadium for the press conference. Why does this organization, this team really kind of hit home for you?
I enjoy sports of all kinds, but I believe in supporting women's sports. There aren't enough opportunities for girls and young women to play sports at the professional level, and I wanted to support the Dash for that reason. I was a 10-year season ticket holder to the Comets when we had our WNBA team here as well.
Now you played sports at Rice. There wasn't varsity at the time.
No, I actually
sports.
played varsity softball at Rice University. It's a footnote somewhere. We had a team for 1 year.
Awesome. I love trivia like that.
But I enjoy sports as a spectator, but I also enjoy playing all sorts of sports, but I never played soccer.
You mentioned kind of the impact that this can have on young girls. You've obviously carved out an incredible career in politics. How much does athletics help somebody, especially a young girl? Because, as you said, they don't really have kind of the role models that boys have had for so long.
Another interesting tidbit, a lot of successful women politicians and women CEOs were involved in sports, either as a player or it's something that they did with their fathers and bonded around it, both of which were more my case. But sports teaches you to try and to lose and to get up and try again. And they also teach, many of the team sports obviously teach teamwork, discipline, the benefits of hard work, all are good life lessons.
Well, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to have the Dash in Houston without this stadium, without BBVA Compass Stadium. So talk about the impact that having this stadium has had, not just on Houston and women's sports, but East Downtown. And there has to be so many ways that having this stadium has helped the city.
The stadium is a great place to watch sports. It's a great place to play. I understand from talking to the players, but it has been a catalyst for this end of downtown. There was already new construction going on, but since the stadium came in, a lot of other things have popped up around it. And when you consider the triangle that we have with the BBVA Compass Stadium, Minute Maid Park, and the Toyota Center with our Convention Center and Discovery Green right in the middle of that triangle, it's a great place for sports, but it becomes a center of gravity for this end of the city. And it will, over the years, I think, spin off a lot of other benefits in terms of economic development.
I live right here, like 100 yards away, and it's amazing. There's literally cranes on every corner. It seems like this part of the city is really starting to come to life.
There's about a dozen high-rise buildings going up just in downtown and perhaps 100 projects across the city of Houston. East Downtown has been a little slower to develop, but you can see it happening now. Well, and it's also, when you consider, there's a psychological barrier with Highway 59, sort of separating this side of downtown from the rest of downtown and the East End, but the market's going to drive that piece closer and closer together.
Well, back to the dash. What has been your favorite moment so far this season?
It's been a tough season for the dash. Let me just say.
We know that. We know that.
The opening game, sellout crowd, probably 2/3 little girls. Kids that play in their youth soccer leagues, and the women on the field are great role models for them. But that opening game, just the excitement in the air, and seeing so many girls and young women here just excited about sports. Most of us, men and women, will never play at a professional level, and we may not play as adults, but we get so much out of sports as we're growing up that we need to have opportunities.
Before we let you go, it's Pride Night here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Talk a little bit about the role that maybe sports can play in the quest for equality.
You know, it's tough to fill a stadium on a weeknight when it's just hot as heck in Houston, but you'll find a spirited crowd down there, and I believe that over time, as we get used to the team and the team gets used to the city of Houston and we get to know each other better, you're going to see these stands full every night. And I appreciate Dash reaching out for Pride Night. Unfortunately, a lot over the years, sports has not been a very friendly place overall for out GLBT athletes. And that is changing, and it's changing at a very rapid pace. And I appreciate the Dash being a part of that.
You know, we saw it last night with the ESPYs. Michael Sam getting the Arthur Ashe Courage Award was certainly a special moment. All right, we got to take a break. Thanks, Mayor Parker, for joining us. Really appreciate your time. When we return to look at the first half highlights, it's the Houston Dash 0, the Washington Spirit 1 here at BBVA Compass Stadium.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
An exoskeleton, powered by brainwaves to help the paralyzed walk again. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Deep in midfield, slipped into Clark, trying to line up his way. There it is from Will Who's done just about anything else. Give it away, Brad Davis, and we are level.
Before and after every game, watch Dynamo pre- and post-game live, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
The temperature has dropped here at Houston. Unfortunately, the humidity has not. Washington on top 1-0 after 45 minutes. Glad to have you back with us here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Sebastian Salazar, Jen Cooper. We just had Houston Mayor Anise Parker on. Jen, through 45 minutes of the dash down, your thoughts on the opening half?
Once again, giving up an early goal. It wasn't the painful mistake that it was last game, but it still puts the dash behind. I think we're seeing, though, as the first half developed, more combination play. They're finding their rhythm. Melissa Henderson is making the space that the other players need. I think we're going to see a different second half.
Let's check out the highlights from the first half. Some early opportunities for Houston in this one. Marissa Diggs, the center back, involved on the offensive end as she goes up for a corner kick and just heads it wide. And Marissa Diggs on the defensive end, saving here against Jody Taylor. Great hustle from the young defender. Dash pumping forward, Melissa Henderson with the shot towards the near post. Ashlyn Harris with a great save on the quarter-hour mark. That kept us scoreless. And 4 minutes later, it would be Washington breaking the ice. Lisa Devanna, the goal, off an assist from Taylor, the left-footed chip past Erin McLeod. And Washington taking the lead through their Australian playmaker. McLeod busy in the first half, standing on her head throughout, made some key saves for the brunt of that challenge there. Lisa Devanna, again, a threat, getting behind the defense, but McLeod going to ground. Use her feet, not her hands there to make the play. Few real opportunities for Houston through the opening 45. This may have been one of the best. Nina Berger, the shot. Harris, the touch off the post. Berger again involved here, but Crystal Dunn with some last-ditch defending in the box knocks it away for the corner kick. And after 45 minutes, it is 1-0 to the visitors from Washington, D.C. We'll be back with the second half kickoff, National Women's Soccer League action here on Comcast Sportsnet.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
An exoskeleton, powered by brainwaves to help the paralyzed walk again. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Deep in midfield, it slipped into Clark, trying to line up his way. There he is from Will.
Who's done just about anything else. Give it away, Brad Davis, and we are level.
Before and after every game, watch Dynamo pre- and post-game live only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
Welcome back to National Women's Soccer League action on Comcast Sportsnet. Sebastian Salazar, Jen Cooper with you from here at BBVA Compass Stadium on the east edge of downtown Houston. After 45 minutes, the Dash trailed the Washington Spirit 1-0. And Jen, as we mentioned atop the show, this game essentially a must-win for Houston. These 45 minutes that we're about to see could well define this Dash inaugural season.
They've been lucky so far this season. The table has helped them out with Seattle taking points and other teams splitting points. And Portland just finished up 1-1 at Chicago, again, to keep things kind of flat. That also gives a big opportunity to the Washington Spirit. A win tonight for the Spirit puts them solely in possession of third place. I'm not sure what the Dash is going to have to do to stop giving up the goals, the first goal. We've seen them come back, but you can't come back every single game. Be interesting to see what lineup changes are made for the second half.
Yeah, the goal tonight coming in the 19th minute from Lisa DeVanna. Her first goal since coming over from Boston earlier this season. Take a look at the first half stats here. Shots in favor of the home side, corner kicks, 9 of them already for Washington. Not an altogether physical match, so the Dash have been called for 5 fouls by center ref Michael Zapata. As we mentioned earlier, very busy week around the National Women's Soccer League, and really women's soccer in general. The national team for the United States officially announcing a match against Switzerland August 20th in Cary, North Carolina. Switzerland, a first-time Women's World Cup qualifier, one of 6 nations to already book their trip to Canada next summer.
And the U.S. has never played Switzerland, surprisingly enough.
Gotta say, it's one of probably only a handful of legitimate soccer countries that the U.S. hasn't faced, right?
Right. Now, granted, Switzerland has never made a Women's World Cup, but that being said, the talent in Europe is so deep that I think it's long overdue that Europe is getting more slots in the World Cup.
Talk about the teams ahead of the Dash in this push. Western New York with some bad news. Lydia Williams, their goalkeeper, out for the season with a torn ACL and meniscus. That happened against this Washington Spirit team last Saturday. The Australian now facing a race against time to get ready for the Women's World Cup next summer. And how about this? The NWSL will make its national TV debut on Sunday. Portland hosting Boston, and our good friend Glenn Davis alongside Monica Gonzalez on that call on ESPN2.
Both of them with pretty serious Houston ties, so maybe there'll be a little Houston bias to that broadcast.
I'm sure we'll get some Dash mentions in there from Glenn.
I like that Boston Breakers is playing in that match because Monica Gonzalez was part of the Breakers in the WSA.
Dash go direct to start the second half here. Ball out of bounds. Goal kick to the Spirit. A few other news and notes items. The Mexican women's national team going to play a couple friendlies here in the next month or so against Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, we told you last week Randy Waldrum, in a volunteer role, will take over the TNT program.
Yeah, they will be training in Houston for the next month or so as they prepare for the Caribbean qualifying that leads to CONCACAF's final qualifying tournament for the Women's World Cup. The top 4 teams will earn a spot at the October tournament, which will be held somewhere in the U.S. sometime in October. And despite my harassment of U.S. soccer officials, I was unable to get any date or venue information. It probably won't be announced until August.
Kaleo high, feeds Jordan Jackson. Jackson with a cross in here, had Berger at the near post, but Allie Krieger there to clear it away. A sub at the half for Washington. Robin Gale has come on. Lisa DeVanna off. She's on the near sideline with some ice wrapped around that left hamstring area. Oaks with a corner kick. Right into the box. Harris punches away. Oaks is going to get to it. Still on her left foot, and she'll go all the way back to Megan Klingenberg. Klingenberg, good quick ball into Berger. Oakes and Krieger come together there, last touched by the outside back from San Diego. '48th minute, 1-0 to the visitors here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Spirit entered the match with a 8-7-2 record, 26 points, tied for third place. Dash 5-10-1, just 16 points and tied for seventh. Here's Gale, Canadian international, trying to find Diana Matheson. Matheson chases it down and will now offer service to the penalty spot. Melissa Henderson towards the middle.
And we talked about Jody Taylor some in the first half. I had, expressed why, she hasn't been called up by an English national team. My great Twitter sources have told me part of it, she hasn't played in the FA's Women's Super League. Also, as we were guessing, just, depending on who the head coach was at the time. But I also want to point out that, similar to Becky Edwards, Jody Taylor has appeared in every single match that the Spirit have played this year. She's not quite the Iron Woman.
Henderson in the box. Henderson the shot. Not enough on it to trouble Ashlyn Harris.
Taylor hasn't played every minute, but has appeared in all 17 games. And I guess this makes this 18 games for the Washington Spirit.
Got another sub at the half. Veronica Perez coming on and replacing Crystal Dunn. So a couple of changes from Mark Parsons after the opening 45 minutes, despite the fact his team is hanging on right now to a 1-0 lead.
Well, I remember that Crystal Dunn was struggling with some injuries in June, so that could be a rest issue. Washington has 2 games coming up in the next week. They're going to play twice more before the Dash play again, so he really has to manage the minutes.
Taylor into the box to Matheson, but Becky Edwards clears. Does a nice job picking out Kaylee Ohai. They're back to goal, can't quite turn it into Jordan Jackson, but Jackson tracks it down anyway, and here's Ohai on the break. Ohai running at Allie Krieger, trying to find Henderson. A lot on that pass. Henderson going to chase it down, though, manages to keep it in, and then fights it back towards Jackson. Gale with a left-footed clearance goes out of bounds. The Dash pushing forward here, looking for an early equalizer in the second half. Jackson with the cross. Berger in the area, but not close enough. Ashlyn Harris off her line. Averbush, great outlet pass. Garafrakis to Taylor. Diggs uses her body to shield off the English national. And McLeod will roll it out to Engen. Right around this time last Friday night, against, it must be said, a much weaker opponent, that the Dash came to life, scored 2 goals in a 5-minute stretch, and turned that game on its head. They'll hope to do it again this evening. Edwards sitting deep, looking for Jackson, but the long ball off the mark.
Yeah, the first time these clubs met, Dash did a great job of coming back. Spirit would score, they scored. Spirit would score, they scored. Thought it was going to be a 2-2 tie, except for that golazo and stoppage time by Christine Nairn.
Here's Diggs chasing, but she's not going to beat Taylor to it. Taylor with a quick flick through Diggs' legs, but great positioning And use of the body from Diggs as she shields off. Taylor in the box, and here comes Houston the other way. Kaylin Kyle slows things down, so will drop it to Edwards. Oh, high one touch. Not going to get it done as the Spirit defense collapses. Gale. Bit heavy with that ball into the forward line. 53rd minute. Dash trail 1-0. No more room for error for Randy Waldrum and company. Each point of extreme value this late in the season. They're still talking playoffs in the Dash locker room. Perez out wide to Garifrakis. She's in an offside position.
Well, and I have to drop the great stat about Veronica Perez, and this one's meaningful to you, Sebastian. She scored the game-winning goal against U.S. to give Mexico their first ever win against the U.S. back in 2010 and forced the U.S. into a playoff to get to the 2011 Women's World Cup.
Those were some heady times for U.S. women's soccer. Imagine the storyline that would have been had the U.S. not qualified for a World Cup.
Well, Abby had a great comment. She goes, "You didn't televise any of the games when we were winning, and then now we lose, and suddenly our game's on ESPN 2.
That's one way to get exposure. Marissa Diggs on the ball. Oaks now, no stranger to the attack. Tries to find Jackson, but Robin Gale, such a valuable asset off the bench for Mark Parsons. She'll chase down Kaylee Ohai. Some fancy footwork from Ohai. Megan Klingenberg, acres of space. Kling tried to slip it through. Now she's caught up field. Spirit hoped to counter quickly, but the pass out of the back misguided. 55th minute dash ball deep in the Washington end. Henderson, such a presence with her back to goal. One of, if not the main reason she was brought in from FC Kansas City. Randy Waldrum told me they just didn't really have anybody on the roster that could play with their back to goal. And they needed somebody to fill that role. Henderson has done it well in her brief time here with the Dash.
Well, I think she also might be the person to step up and, if necessary, successfully convert a penalty kick for the Dash. Talking to Kaylee Ohai this week, I asked her, I said, so why wasn't that kick? Why didn't you take that kick? And she's like, I didn't even think about it. But she said now it has been planned that penalty kicks will be taken by either her or Melissa Henderson.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans wanted to see Ohai get the shot at a hat trick. And oftentimes coaches will kind of let that play its way out. It's interesting, the whole penalty kick debate. I know some coaches like to have the shooters determined well in advance. Others kind of let it play out on the field, whoever steps up and seems the most confident. But whatever the Dash have done in the past probably needs to be switched up a little bit. We've seen far too many PK misses here at home. Berger nods it into the box. Cross will head it wide where Matheson and Jackson will do battle. Jackson wins it. She's being hauled down from behind. No call from the center ref. Not sure if he didn't see it. Oaks crossing in. And Berger and Ohai probably just too close to each other. Basically occupying the same spot just inside the Washington penalty area. 57th minute. Houston trails. Gale, one touch into Matheson. Canadian internationals hooking up. Christine Nairn Wins it, plays it off to Perez. Washington slowing things down here. Content with a 1-0 lead on the road. Engen, perfectly timed slide to keep the ball away from Jody Taylor in the box. Kalen Kyle now to Henderson. Has it poked away, but the Dash maintained possession through Klingenberg. Jackson and Ohai, the two rookies hooking up. Ohai dancing on it. Lost it, but Stephanie Oakes finds it. Oakes cutting into the middle on her preferred left foot. Oakes all the way into the middle of the park now, where she'll leave it for Kalen Kyle. Kyle with the switch to Kaylee Ohai. Ohai and Gale, one-on-one. Ohai with some space. Crosses with the left foot, driven to the back stick, headed away by Allie Krieger. Corner kick coming up to Houston.
Good work by Hyde to beat the defender, get it in. Couple heads waiting for it, but nobody had the right angle to get it on frame. Now we got Stephanie Oakes. She's taken more corners for the Dash than anybody else this season. See what she can do.
Seven Houston players in the penalty area. Oakes with the right foot to the near post. Flicked on. Garafrakis juggles it and eventually volleys clear to Jody Taylor. Taylor with tons of space and plenty of options, going to go all the way back to the German international. Garafrakis surging forward. Poked away by Nina Berger as Berger tracks all the way back. Spirit with a quick inbounds. Hoping to catch a Dash side out of position. No such luck as Kaylee Ohai putting in the defensive work. Tries to go around. Gale can't do so. Canadian veteran with a timely tackle. Edwards over the top. Henderson onside. Henderson and Krieger. Look at the speed from Krieger. All the way back to Harris. Harris safely knocks it away.
Good pressure by Melissa Henderson to make Harris do something with her feet. Means the throw-in's going to be a lot closer for the Dash.
60th minute, we will have our first substitute for Houston. Another Tar Heel joins the match. Kelly McFarland entering the game, replacing Nina Berger, Austria's all-time leading scorer, off with a half hour to play. Oakes, the long throw. Krieger with a pair of headers. She's been dominant so far tonight. Ohai and Gale. Gale 78 caps for the Canadian team, another member of that 2012 Olympic bronze medal squad, and another Tar Heel.
Yeah, talking with Kelly McFarland yesterday, we found out that she and Gale wore the same jersey number at Carolina. They had retired a lot of jersey numbers, of course, for the Tar Heels. You know, names that we all know, like Christine Lilly, Mia Hamm, Tisha Venturini, Kat Whitehill. They had retired so many that they had to make the decision to unretire the numbers. And now if you're wearing the jersey of someone who the jersey had been retired, their name is on the sleeve. But the rule in North Carolina is you have to win a Player of the Year award to get your jersey retired, and then it's only for a set time.
Pretty high standard.
Yeah.
I guess you can do it when you've got...
I mean, you really don't want to get soccer players wearing 3-digit jersey numbers. I wondered how Ohio, was wearing 7 at North Carolina, and she explained. She's like, no, they unretired Robin Confer's number so I could wear it.
No pressure, right? Stepping into some of the jerseys of some of those big names. But I guess if you're going to North Carolina, you're not not shying down from the pressure or the expectations, that's for sure. Foul here on the Houston side of midfield, whistled by Michael Zapata. Had a few words for Veronica Perez.
So, you know, no keeper has ever had their number retired by Carolina, so I think I need to have a little chat with Anson Dorrance about that.
63rd minute, the Dash pouring forward here. They've got a half hour to do it, but it'll take 2 goals. A point, not really what Houston needs this evening. Oaks out to McFarland. McFarland and Gale, who so far has been a wall down this side after entering at the half. McFarland with a chance to cross. She does so. Ball deflects. Nearly went out of bounds for a corner kick. Instead, Ashlyn Harris keeps it in bounds. Keep up with Keeper Notes to stay in touch with all the latest women's soccer news. Do so on Facebook, Twitter, and at keepernotes.com. Remember, you better keep her notes.
Because Sebastian Salazar always does.
I do. I read my Keeper Notes emails. I was going to say daily, but you don't send them daily. Switch here to Gale. Gale and Matheson playing down this near sideline, both from Ontario. Kaylee Ohai loses it to Cross. Henderson fights off Krieger and switches to Klingenberg. Klingenberg inside to Edwards. Edwards, the Iron Woman. Every minute of every game. Ohai rounds Gale. Gale with the sliding challenge, pokes it away. Ball still in. Ohai crossing it back to the penalty spot. Perez clears it away. Gale nods it out for a throw-in. Remember, don't miss the Dynamo taking on Toronto FC July 19th right here at BBVA Compass Stadium. That's this Saturday. Tickets on sale now. Log on to HoustonDynamo.com today. Michael Bradley, Jermaine Defoe, all those guys going to be here. Should be an awesome match. Cross and McFarland come together. Cross heads it. Matheson away.
Everything we talk about seems to involve Canada, which is fitting, considering that, you know, the U20 Women's World Cup is kicking off in Canada next month.
Oaks on her right foot. Cross. Kaylin Kyle, chased down by Kirsten Garifrakis, goes all the way back to Klingenberg. You sense the field tilting a bit in favor of Houston here in the second half. Again, we've mentioned it time and time again. The conditions favor the home side, Houston. Humidity, always a factor here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Chip into the box, Jackson behind the defense. But again, Allie Krieger there to save the day. The outside backs for both these teams finding plenty of space. Oaks, McFarland. McFarland and Ohai. Ohai now on her left foot. Ohai looking for a shot. Can't get it. Perez with the tackle. Matheson now trying to find a break for Washington. Instead pulls it back. Alex Singer on the ball.
Not really seeing anyone warming up on the sidelines for either team. Kika Toulouse is up for a little bit, but she's back on the bench. Guess we're not going to see any subs for a while.
Long ball going to roll right to the feet of Ashlyn Harris. And the Washington goalkeeper in no rush. The Spirit closing in on 3 ever so valuable road points. They try and climb their way to the top of a log jam at the back end of the NWSL playoff picture. Entered the night in a 3-way tie for third. And this is the second time that Veronica Perez has received a verbal warning from the center ref.
Seems like Becky was higher than Veronica, but maybe Veronica got a shoulder to the gut. Or, I mean, put a shoulder into Becky Edwards' gut.
Klingenberg driving it into the box, right at Ashlyn Harris, who punches away. Ojai crossing back in. Cross and Diggs come together. Cross thumps it forward. Foul called on Marissa Diggs. Plenty of time left, but the clock right now working against Houston. 68 minutes played at BBVA Compass Stadium, and the Dash trail 1-0. This is the third and final meeting this year between these two teams on May 26th at the Maryland Soccerplex in Germantown, Maryland. Houston fell 3-2. The Dash falling 1-0 on June 28th here in the Bayou City. Diggs and Taylor. Diggs again winning the one-on-one battle against one of the best strikers in the NWSL.
Diggs was a two-time All-American at Central Florida, the first that the school had since the legendary Michelle Akers.
Gale in the corner, sends it in, a hopeful ball with her left foot. But the delivery finds only Erin McLeod. Singer pressured by Henderson. Cleared only to Edwards, who brings it down, offering up some control. All the way back to McLeod, no stranger to playing with her feet. In fact, very comfortable. Diggs forward now to Jackson. Jackson in trouble, loses it to Matheson, who falls awkwardly. After a raucous start, Jen, to the second half here, game has slowed down a bit, no?
Washington, I think, is, content to sit on that 1-0 lead. But we need to see some more fight from the Dash if they're going to have a chance at getting some points out of this match.
Ojai and Krieger come together on the edge of the box. Ojai goes down. And Michael Zapata has whistled for a free kick just outside the penalty area. Let's get another look here. Krieger seemed to have the position.
The one angle shows what looks to be a direct shove.
Tough to tell there. I think that's, again, one of those calls that, depending on what color jersey you're wearing, you feel one way or the other about it. Ojai did go down.
And whether or not you have replay, which, of course, the referee does not.
I was not far from being inside the penalty area. Very dangerous situation here for Washington as they try to hold on to a lead. Stephanie Oakes standing over it. Got plenty of options in the box. Oakes places to the near post. Across the face of goal, Diggs was there. Diggs slides to knock it out of bounds on the Averbush clearance, but it'll be a throw-in for Washington. Want to win 2 tickets to the Houston Dash versus Seattle Reign here on July 30th? Here's how you do it. Text prize to 69050 for your chance to win. Ojai atop the box. You know, she's got long distance capabilities, as witnessed last week. McFarland against Matheson. Tried to find Jackson, the rookie connection, just off. About 20 minutes to play here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Dash in need of an equalizer.
You know, and as we've mentioned, the Under-20 Women's World Cup, I have to throw out one of my favorite little women's soccer stories. Our two keepers tonight are the two keepers from the final of the inaugural U19 Women's World Cup back in 2002, which eventually became the Under-20 Women's World Cup. Canada losing to the U.S. 1-0 with a stoppage time golden goal. That was one of the last years of golden goal before you had to play the full 30 minutes of overtime. Back when Erin McLeod sported a mohawk.
I would love to see those pictures. I'm sure we'll be able to dig them up somewhere.
Oh, I found one.
Ohai in past Gale. Ohai to the end line. Ohai with the cross. Gale. What a challenge there. Selling out to knock it away for a corner kick. 74th minute. Both center backs, Diggs and Engen, approaching the area here as the Dash start to throw caution to the wind. It'll be Oakes again, this time on her left foot. An in-swinger likely upcoming. Oakes, perfect ball in, takes the deflection, goal! Marissa Diggs!
Great in-swinger from Oakes, and Diggs, who's been dangerous in the box all night on these corners, finally connects. First professional goal from the rookie out of Central Florida. And you know, it wasn't even a header. She's been heading most of those balls. She connected with her foot.
From about 6 inches out, Marissa Diggs equalizes in the 74th minute, and we're all square here at BBVA Compass Stadium, 1-1. The Dash back in this game and momentarily back alive in the playoff chase. Ohai turns and burns, past Robin Gale. Ohai into the box, Ohai on her right foot, the shot, cross, just misses. Melissa Henderson there. The Dash coming to life.
Natalie Krieger was off the field for that play. That must have made her really nervous to not be back there with her defense, but she's been waved back on, taking signals from the coach to figure out how to adjust.
Through ball here. Garifrakis on the end of it, got Taylor in the box. Taylor all alone. Taylor with the touch and just misses. Jody Taylor all alone in front of goal and could not find her 10th of the season.
That would have been a dagger in the heart for the Dash. McLeod comes out. Maybe that's what made Taylor shoot wide, because she had almost an open net.
Next up for the Dash, the Seattle Reign, Hope Solo, Megan Rapinoe, Sydney LaRue, July 30th, 8 p.m. right here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Tickets on sale now. Visit houston-soccer.com.
That'll be the next home game, but in the interim, Dash will travel to Chicago. They'll take on the Red Stars Saturday, July 6th, 1 o'clock. And for those who follow the keeper, pay attention for news about a watch party to watch that away game. Even Sebastian comes to our watch parties.
I do. Firkin Phoenix, one of my favorite spots to watch a game. Nairn on her left foot. Delivers to the penalty spot. Taylor the header. Mathis almost found the rebound. But instead, Erin McLeod in front of her Clan McLeod fan base down there. will put this ball back in play for Houston. 77th minute, the Dash, thanks to an equalizer from the most unlikely source, Marissa Diggs, have pulled even here in Houston. And our second sub for Randy Waldrum comes in the 78th minute. Rafa Souza, the Brazilian international, once capped for the Verde Amarela, enters off rookie Jordan Jackson out of the University of Nebraska.
Haven't had a chance to talk to Rafa or Kika after the Brazilian misery of the last couple weeks, so I hope they've recovered.
Probably for the best. Souza with a powerful left foot. And the quick feet you'd expect from a Brazilian. Ohai operating with her back to goal, now on that right foot. Ohai across the middle of the field to McFarland, who drops it to Stephanie Oakes. Oakes, McFarland, one-time cross into the back stick. Souza was there as Gale mistimed it. Taylor checking all the way back in. Kaylin Kyle intercepts, goes in late on Averbush, and this will draw the whistle from Michael Zapata.
Washington certainly taking their time, trying to run down the clock.
Taylor in behind the defense, not first to it though. Aaron McLeod just gets there in the nick of time.
And both of these teams are familiar with last-minute heroics. You know, the Dash's first ever win was goal in the 80th to equalize and 85th to win. And of course that Dash Washington Spirit match with Nairn's 93rd minute game winner.
Melissa Henderson applying the pressure there. The Dash with a throw in deep in Washington territory. It's going to be Klingenberg all the way up from her left back spot. And down on the near sideline, Tiffany McCarty approaching the fourth official. Klingenberg against Gale. Crosses in, Kelly McFarland heads it back, no one there for Houston. As a dangerous chance goes by the wayside for the Dash. Surprised not to see a little more urgency here from the Spirit. A road point is usually good enough, but with how tight the standings are, you figured they'd be looking for all three here in the last 10. Now Washington pours forward as Alex Singer looked for Diana Matheson.
Or maybe they're learning why BBVA Compass is called the oven.
Final sub for Randy Waldrum comes in the 81st minute, and what a luxury it is to bring Tiffany McCarty onto the field late. She replaces Melissa Henderson. McCarty, the leading scorer for the Houston Dash.
And another former Washington Spirit player. I think it's been a great change for her this season. Talking to Randy Waldrum last month, he said some of these players are just helping them build the confidence that yes, you can do this, you can play professionally, I know you have it in you.
Souza turns on her left foot, overlapping run from Klingenberg. Klingenberg wants it, Souza still keeps it. And Chime Rue not finding Kling on that far side. McFarland over Matheson. Matheson goes to ground. McFarland called for the foul, and she disagrees. Kicked the ball away, may draw a yellow for it. As Michael Zapata comes over to have a chat with a recent North Carolina graduate.
Some of the Dash players off the bench, even the coaches. Even Brittany Bach off the bench. And looks like Washington's going to sub. Denisha Adams on the sideline.
She'll replace Christine Nairn. Nairn, of course, the player that scored the game-winning heartbreaker at Maryland Soccerplex when the two sides met in late May.
And Denisha was briefly part of the Dash roster. She was taken in the expansion draft and then traded to acquire Oaks.
McCarty flicks it on. Ohai. Ohai working against Singer. Ohai into the box, but she's got no help. Tried to chip it. And from that angle was always going to be a tall task to beat Ashlyn Harris. But the confidence now sky high for Kaylee Ohai on the strength of a 2-goal performance last week against Boston. Harris's goal kick out of bounds. Oaks, the long throw down the line. McCarty tried to turn on it. Good defensive pressure from Yael Averbush. Last touch by McCarty. Becky Edwards, always involved, always around the ball. The midfield general, the engine for Houston. McFarland and Adams. Adams, the better in that battle. Garafrakis ahead to Perez, but Perez coming back from an offside position. Does this game have another goal left in it? Just over 5 minutes to play at BBVA Compass Stadium. A goal for either side would potentially be huge, and the skies have opened up here in Houston. We had rain this afternoon, and it's coming down now tonight. So the plot thickens. Edwards crashing forward. She wins it, finds Ohai, plays into the former Tar Heels' feet, but Kalia can't hold it up, and Denisha Adams pushing forward now. Efficient switch from Matheson. Ball makes its way to Garafrakis. And despite a notable height disadvantage, Megan Klingenberg stops the German international in her tracks. 130 caps for Garafrakis. World champion in 2003, 2007. Long ball over the top. Ohai racing onto it. Ashlyn Harris there, not a convincing clear though. McCarty tries to bring it down. Her touch long, but manages to find Rafa Souza. Souza switch. Oaks, plenty of space and plenty of time. Oaks into the middle of the field. She's got a left foot. Oaks thought about a shot, still with room to shoot. Shot deflected. Flag goes up, offsides whistled against the Dash. Cross chips it into midfield. Kelly McFarland breaks up the play.
And somehow the rain has changed to bubbles. We're getting an infestation of bubbles in the press box, in the broadcast booth.
Well, Houston is known for its
Strange weather?
Strange weather. It seems like every day in the summer it rains. It just doesn't rain for very long, and it doesn't rain in the same place. You can call your friend across town, and they'll look at you funny when you tell them it's raining. It came quick, and now it has dissipated. Interesting to see if it plays a factor. BBVA Compass Stadium, a state-of-the-art facility, has wonderful drainage, but the surface could be a little slick here over the final few minutes of regulation.
And that south goal always has problems because with the overhang that goes over where a stage would go creates some sun patterns. I know the groundskeeper always is frustrated keeping the mouth of that south goal as green as the north goal.
Loose ball here. Whitney Engen not messing around. Clears it over the top and does well to find Tiffany McCarty. McCarty trying to beat Allie Krieger, and that's a difficult proposition at any point in the game, certainly as we approach the 90th minute. Engen, trouble with the clearance. She'll get a second shot at it. Somehow finds Kelly McFarland. Kaylin Kyle, the one-touch effort off the mark. Denisha Adams. Intercepted by Stephanie Oakes. Becky Edwards into Ohai. Ohai pressured from behind. Nikki Cross. Here's Tiffany McCarty. Krieger there, and Ashlyn Harris will gather. 89th minute.
One of the things that Coach Mark Parsons has said about the Spirit this season, he says it's in their hands. It's really in their hands. And it does surprise me to see them kind of sitting back on this 1-1 and not attacking a little bit more.
Kyle and Edwards came together there to strip Averbush. Kyle thought she did so cleanly. Michael Zapata disagrees, and a dangerous set piece looming here for the visitors. Krieger will quickly play in Matheson. Matheson into the middle. Diggs tries to clear. Looked like it took a deflection off Garifrakis. We are in the 90th minute at BBVA Compass Stadium. Rafa Souza goes around Krieger. Nearly beat Ashlyn Harris to it. But the national team goalkeeper proving her worth. Gale a bit slow to get it out of the back. McCarty closes her down. Still Washington ball. No sign yet from the fourth official. We should get it shortly, though. 3 minutes of stoppage time added to this game. 3 minutes for a decisive goal. Matheson closed down by Klingenberg. Last touch by the Canadian international. McFarland all the way back to Erin McLeod. Pressured by Jody Taylor. McLeod thumps it forward. Adams chipping it in. Gets past Klingenberg. Garifrakis on the edge of the box. Garifrakis, one-time cross into Taylor. Engen. Souza clears. Averbush brings it down. Tense moments here. Dash still not out of the woods. Garifrakis turns centrally. Engen again with a clearance. Now Houston over the top. McCarty in. Ashlyn Harris. And her volley critical as McCarty was streaking in for a potential one-on-one.
She put the pedal to the metal on that one, but Ashlyn Harris read it right and was way out of her box to shut that down.
Kyle breaking through now. Picks out McFarland. McFarland one time into McCarty, but Nikki Cross there for the clear. Engen around Garifrakis, and now we'll have time to distribute. Looking for some options. Goes to Souza. Souza and Gale. Youth versus experience. Souza, the chip, looking for Ohai. Dash lose possession. Garifrakis looking for an outlet, forced to go back. Allie Krieger always dangerous with the long ball. She pumps it forward here. And Erin McLeod will keep it in, hoping to distribute quickly for the dash. Can only be seconds left to play here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Adams wins a fight with Ohio. Averbush cutting around Edwards. Springs Gale down the right side. Robin Gale now. Long ball in. Engen the header. Souza, errant pass. Poor time for a turnover as it finds Matheson. Diggs. Ball still in. Well-driven service. Edwards and Taylor. Bounces off of Edwards, falls into the box. Garifrakis a touch off the post. The dash living on the edge here. And that'll do it. Washington denied a winner at the death. A dramatic conclusion here in Houston. Bodies strewn across the field as 90 minutes of physical soccer and the humidity of the Bayou City have taken their toll. What a chance at the end.
So lucky to get away with not having that go in. They've had the last minute demoralizing goal. This one they hang on for the tie. Get 1 point, not as good as 3, but they're still in the mix. For Washington, they pull ahead firmly in third place.
Former Tar Heel teammates Kaylee Ohio, Crystal Dunn coming together. They'll share the points on this evening. 1-1 the final when we return. Highlights and some final thoughts as the Dash and Spirit draw in Houston.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
A device that reads brainwaves to help the paralyzed walk again. A tiny isotope that detects Alzheimer's before any symptoms occur. A procedure that repairs heart valves without opening the chest. A better tomorrow made possible today. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Before and after every game, watch Dynamo pre- and post-game live, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
I don't think anybody is more conscious of the fact that he's still to score on the biggest stage and Wayne himself. He needs to make a difference.
The question is, can Neymar live up to the number 10 legend?
E foi assim, ano passado, que Portugal venceu graças a Ronaldo. Ficou...
'90 intense minutes and in a draw here in Houston. It's the Dash won and the Washington Spirit won here in Week 15 National Women's Soccer League action. Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium. Sebastian Salazar joined by Jen Cooper. Jen, your thoughts on a game the Dash kind of needed to win, but at least they get a point.
At least they get a point, but when you look at who the Dash is going to be playing in the last few weeks, these points were big. They've got 2 games against Seattle. They've got a game against Portland. They've got games on the road. It's going to be really tough.
Tough night here for both sides. Injuries, attrition as we drag into this season. Let's check out the highlights from the full 90 minutes. Second half, a little bit of a slow start, but in the 59th minute, Kaleo High involved here on the cross. Kelly McFarland, one of the many North Carolina Tar Heels in action with the cross that kind of turned into a shot. Ashlyn Harris dealt with it well. Steph Oakes on the free kick just outside the area, sent it across. Marissa Diggs nearly found a goal there, and then in the 74th minute, Diggs did find a goal. On the back post off the corner kick. Jen, what a goal from the center back.
First professional goal for the rookie out of Central Florida, and with her foot. She had been trying to head it on goal on most of those corners. She did it with her foot.
A few minutes later, Washington nearly got it right back. Jody Taylor in the right spot but couldn't convert. And how about this? In stoppage time, desperate defending here from the Dash. Kirsten Garafrakis nearly scored a brilliant goal.
Goalkeeper's best friend is that post.
Absolutely, a very close call for the Dash at the end. All right, that'll do it for us. For Jen Cooper, I'm Sebastian Salazar. Thanks so much for watching. Next up for Houston, it's a road trip to Chicago on Saturday the 26th. Next home game, the Seattle Reign, the league-leading Seattle Reign here at BBVA Compass Stadium on July 30th. For all of us here at Comcast Sportsnet, thanks for watching again. The final score from Houston, the Dash won, the Spirit won.